From the Soviet Union to Cuba to Venezuela, wherever true socialism or communism has been adopted, it has delivered anguish and devastation and failure.
You say socialism doesn't work, it fails everywhere, makes people poor and miserable, right? That's the argument. And then they go, but that's because it hasn't been properly tried, right? That's their comeback.
And these people are anti-capitalist on their iPhones.
My question is, how do you rectify your notion of democratic socialism with the failures of socialism in nearly every country that has tried it?
What do I mean when I talk about democratic socialism? It certainly is not the authoritarian communism that existed in the Soviet Union and in other communist countries.
I just want to go slowly here because socialism confuses me a little bit. Has socialism worked anywhere it's been tried?
I think what we're working toward is something that we've yet to see.
Socialism has failed everywhere it's been tried.
Almost every argument I ever see about socialism in the mainstream goes something like this. The defender of capitalism will say, socialism has failed everywhere it's ever been tried. It has never accomplished anything. It has never had a single success. Every country where socialism has ever been implemented, life got worse. Whole bunch of broad, sweeping accusations. And then the defender of socialism will respond with, that's all true, but... Well, it's not a surprise that they then lose the argument, because that's simply not the truth. Defenders of capitalism don't say socialism in the Soviet Union had problems. That would be correct. They don't say that socialism in China had problems. That would be correct. They don't say that socialism in Venezuela or Cuba had problems. That would be correct. They say that it never accomplished anything. Never accomplished anything. Never improved people's lives, ever. Never changed things, only made things worse. That's generally the terms of the argument. And when the socialist says, yeah, that's true, but, or something to the effect of, oh, I don't believe in state socialism, or I just believe in worker cooperatives, or what I believe in is this true, pure socialism that's never been tried anywhere, the socialist sounds like a complete fool. You don't have to be a blind apologist. No one's asking you to say that, Stalin did nothing wrong, or that nothing repressive or bad happened in the socialist countries. But obviously, factually inaccurate statements must be challenged. The Soviet Union was the first country in outer space. It took a country that was deeply impoverished and made it fully industrialized, fully electrified. The Soviet Union was producing more steel than any other country in the world during the 1930s. China, with socialist methods, with a state-run economy, has gone from being the sick man of Asia, one of the poorest countries in the world, to being a global superpower. I mean, Cuba, compare the living conditions of Cubans to people in Haiti, or the Dominican Republic, or Jamaica, or Guatemala, or Honduras. I mean, the notion that socialism only made people's lives worse is very easy to dissect in terms of life expectancy, in terms of standard of living, and it is just simply not factually accurate that socialism doesn't improve people's lives. The way people lived in the Soviet Union in the 1960s compared to the way people lived in Russia in the 1910 or 1912 or 1905 was far, far better. I mean, huge achievements went on. Countries were lit up with electricity, life expectancies rose, universal employment, universal housing. Again, no one's saying you have to blindly defend and never admit that bad things happen, but factually inaccurate statements that are very easy to dissect must be refuted. Everyone knows that the Soviet Union was the first in outer space, but yet they have convinced so many people that know that the Soviet Union was the first in outer space that under socialism no one ever invents or creates anything, right? People know that the most efficient rifle in history was the AK-47 rifle, and it was made in the Soviet Union. But yet, these same people have been convinced somehow to repeat the idea that socialism never invents anything. For example, when it comes to the iPhone argument, right? They say, oh, if it weren't for capitalism, you wouldn't have an iPhone. If you own an iPhone, you're a hypocrite. Well, the first cellular phone was invented in 1952 in the Soviet Union. That was the first mobile phone. The LED screen on the iPhone. That's LED lights. LED lights were invented in the 1920s in the Soviet Union, right? This notion that socialism never creates anything, never invents anything, and just completely failed everywhere it's ever been tried, makes life worse, is very easy to dissect. However, if you don't dissect it, if you go, yeah, but, you look like a fool. No one's asking you to say that nothing went wrong. No one's asking you to defend gulags and prison camps. No one's asking you to defend any of that. But if you want to argue about socialism, and you agree with the premise, the broad sweeping statement that everywhere it's ever been tried, it's only made life worse, if you agree with that, you need to stop arguing. Factually inaccurate statements need to be refuted, and the weakness of defenders of capitalism is the overconfidence, because there are so few people that will defend socialism and the history of socialism. They make these broad, sweeping, and easily dissectable statements very frequently. They frequently will claim that socialism never achieved anything, that everyone simply gets poorer because of socialism. Those statements are very, very easy to dissect by simply opening a history book.